script. You stop chasing and start being chased. You stop begging for his attention and start making him beg for yours. You've probably been there, texting him first thing in the morning, over-explaining how you feel so he won't misunderstand, being available every time he wants to talk because you're scared he'll lose interest. But instead of making him want you more, he started taking you for granted. He got comfortable. He stopped trying. And you felt that shift. That moment when you realized he wasn't putting in effort anymore because he knew you'd always be there. Why? Because desire isn't built through constant communication. It's built through space, through mystery, through the things you don't say. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 7 silence rules that will make him think about you non-stop, even when you're not around. These aren't tricks to confuse him. They're strategies based on how men's minds actually work. And the best part, once you learn these, you'll never feel desperate for his attention again. So if you're ready to stop over-giving, stop over-explaining, and start having the kind of quiet confidence that drives men crazy, stay with me. Your silence isn't weakness. It's your secret weapon. Let's begin. Rule number 1, keep him guessing. If there's one thing that makes a man obsess over you long after you're gone, it's mystery. And mystery starts with keeping your mouth shut about certain things. See, when you're constantly telling him how you feel, what you're thinking, where you are, what you did today, you remove all the mystery. And once there's nothing left for him to wonder about, his mind stops working. He stops thinking about you. And when a man stops thinking about you, he stops wanting you. Mystery is what makes the male brain go crazy. It's the not knowing that pulls him in. It's the gaps in what you tell him that his mind keeps trying to fill. It's the silence when he expects you to talk that leaves him asking, what is she thinking? Does she like me? Did I mess something up? Why isn't she saying anything? And when he starts asking those questions, he gets hooked. Most women think being close means sharing everything, but actually real attraction, real pull, comes from sharing less, from making him work to understand you instead of giving him your whole life story in the first week. There's nothing more attractive than a woman who doesn't feel like she has to explain everything. Man who doesn't rush to fill every quiet moment. A woman who can sit in silence and be perfectly comfortable with it. When you keep some mystery, you create space. And space is what gives him room to step forward, to chase you, to try to figure out who you really are. Mystery isn't about lying or being fake. It's about understanding that you don't owe him access to every thought in your head just because he's interested. You're not there to be an open book. You're there to be discovered slowly by someone who proves he deserves to know more. This is where most women mess up. They think silence means something's wrong. They panic when there's a pause in the conversation. They fill every moment with nervous talking because they're scared of how he'll see them. But that energy pushes men away. It screams, I need you to like me. I need you to tell me I'm good enough. But when you use silence strategically, when you pull back just enough to make him lean in, you say something completely different. You say, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to see if you're worth my time. And that is powerful. Mystery makes you a puzzle he wants to solve, a book he needs to keep reading. And as long as you stay just slightly out of reach, not in a cold way, but in a confident way, he'll keep coming back. He'll think about your last conversation. He'll wonder what you meant by that look, that pause, that smile. Mystery keeps him thinking about you, and that's what creates obsession. So don't underestimate the power of keeping some things to yourself. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Rule number 2, stop needing his validation. Here's a truth most women don't want to hear. The less you need his approval, the more he'll want to give it to you. Not needing him isn't cold, it's magnetic. When a woman doesn't need a man to make her feel good about herself, she becomes almost impossible to resist. Why? Because men can feel when you need them to respond a certain way. They can sense when your happiness depends on how fast they text back. They know when your whole mood changes based on how much attention they give. And the moment they feel that pressure, they pull away. But when you stop needing his validation, when you stop caring so much about what he thinks, something shifts. Suddenly, you're not hanging on his every word. You're not analyzing his text. You're not waiting by your phone. You're living your life. And that creates attraction. See, not needing his approval doesn't mean you don't care about him. It means you don't make him responsible for how you feel about yourself. It means you're happy with or without his attention. It means your worth isn't up for debate every time he does or doesn't text you back. And here's what happens. The more you don't need his validation, the more he wants to give it to you. Men are wired to chase, but they can only chase when there's something to chase. If you're always available, always eager, always giving more than you get, you've done the chasing for him. But picture this. He texts you and you don't rush to reply. Not because you're playing games, but because you're genuinely busy with your own life. You don't overthink what to say back. You don't check his social media to see what he's doing. You don't analyze every word looking for hidden meaning. You're calm, you're centered, you're okay either way. That energy tells him something no words can. I'm not here to perform for you. I'm not here to prove anything. I'm here because I want to be, not because I need to be. And when he feels that, he leans in harder because confidence is rare. Most people are desperate for approval from others. When you show up already complete, already happy with yourself, you stand out. Men want to chase, but only when there's space to do it. If you're always emotionally available, always ready to give more, you've taken away the very thing that creates desire. Not needing his validation creates natural boundaries. It says, I like you, but I don't need you. I'm interested, but I'm not desperate. I care about you, but I care about myself more. And that level of self-respect is absolutely addictive. Most women think love means trying harder when he pulls away. But what if the real magic happens when you don't try at all? What if the most attractive thing you can do is be perfectly fine without him? When you stop giving your energy to people who don't appreciate it, you naturally push away the wrong guys and pull in the right ones. This is what makes a man obsessed. Not because you tricked him, but because you finally stopped needing him to make you feel valuable. Rule number 3, use pauses to drive him crazy. Silence doesn't just create mystery, it creates tension. And tension is what keeps people hooked, thinking about you, wanting more. Most women think if they don't keep talking, if they don't fill every silence, he'll get bored and leave. But that's not how attraction works. Actually, the opposite is true. The pause, that calm, unbothered silence, is what makes him lean in. When you talk without stopping, without breathing room, without space, you don't give him time to feel anything. And attraction isn't about words. It's about feeling. It's built in the quiet moments between words, in the pauses that make him wonder what's going on in your head. Think about any movie scene that stuck with you. It's never someone talking non-stop. It's the pause, the look, the moment of quiet where your brain fills in what's not being said. That's how it works with men too. The pause builds tension. It makes your words more important. And when a woman speaks with intention, with calm silence between her thoughts, a man listens. Not because she's talking louder, but because she's talking less and making every word count. But this works in texting too. Most people reply instantly to messages. It's become automatic. He texts, you answer right away. But what happens when you wait? Not to be mean, but because you're not sitting around waiting for his messages. He starts to feel the pause, the space, the silence. And in that space, tension builds. He starts thinking, did I say something wrong? Is she mad? Is she busy? Is she losing interest? That's where desire grows. Because when a man starts questioning, he gets invested. And when he gets invested, he starts chasing. Tension also happens when you're together. If you're on a date and you laugh at everything right away, fill every silence, reassure him constantly, you're killing the tension too early. But when you sit quietly, comfortably, letting moments just exist, it becomes electric. He starts feeling something he can't name, but he wants more of it. Women who understand tension don't rush. They pause. They let him wonder. They let him work a little to get their full attention. And they know that in those quiet moments, he gets hooked. So don't be scared of the pause. Don't run from silence. Own it. use it. Because when you stop giving everything away immediately, you give him something much more valuable, the need to keep chasing you to figure out what's really going on in your mind. And coming up, Rule 4 is about the most powerful time to use silence right after a fight. This one completely changes who has the power. Rule number 4, go silent after a fight. Silence after a fight is one of the most powerful things a woman can do because it puts you back in control. Most people want to fix things right away after an argument. The second there's conflict, they rush to explain, defend, apologize, make it better. That rush comes from fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of him leaving, fear of losing the connection. But here's the truth. When you react too fast after a fight, especially when you're emotional, you give away all your power. You're basically telling him he can treat you badly and you'll chase after him to fix it. Going silent after conflict isn't about punishing him. It's about protecting yourself. Because when emotions are high, smart thinking is low. And anything you say when you're upset usually makes things worse, not better. By staying quiet calmly, you send a clear message. I'm not going to fight for scraps. I'm not going to beg you to treat me right. I'm going to protect my energy. And right now, talking to you doesn't serve me. Men feel that. It forces them to sit with what they did instead of moving on like nothing happened. It creates a gap where they have to face their behavior without you rushing in to make them feel. In that gap, he starts thinking, did I go too far? Is she done with me? Did I mess this up? What is she thinking right now? Now he's sitting with the uncomfortable feeling of his own actions. He wants to fix things, but he can't get that from you because you've stepped back. So he has to do the work. He has to reach out. He has to take responsibility. But here's what's important. This silence isn't about being petty or trying to hurt him back. It's self-respect in action. You're not ignoring him to be mean. You're protecting yourself because you won't engage when emotions are messy. A woman who knows her worth doesn't owe immediate forgiveness to someone who just disrespected her. She's not afraid to step back, think it through, and decide when and if she wants to engage again. This silence also shows you who he really is. How does he handle your boundaries? Does he come back with a real apology and understanding? Does he think about what he did wrong? Or does he try to make you feel guilty, play victim, or act like you're being dramatic? Your silence becomes a test. It shows you what kind of man you're dealing with when he can't get what he wants from you immediately. You don't need to yell to be heard. You don't need to argue to make your point. Sometimes the biggest impact you'll have is in what you don't say. Because staying quiet after conflict shows maturity, not weakness. It shows you're not addicted to drama. It shows you value peace over being right. And it shows you won't keep teaching someone how to treat you. That kind of energy stays with him. It echoes louder than any argument could. Rule number 5, disappear. Sometimes being absent is a way of communicating that says what words can't. I'm not always available. And when you do this right, absence becomes one of your most powerful tools. Here's what most women don't get. Men don't crave you when you're always around. They crave you when you're gone. That's when you become valuable. That's when a man notices the space you used to fill. It's not when you're texting all day, showing up constantly, always being there when he calls. It's when you disappear, when you gracefully step back that he starts to miss you. Strategic absence isn't ghosting. It's not disappearing to play games or make him jealous. It's about changing the pattern where he expects you to always be available, always responding, always giving your time freely. The moment you step away from that routine, he feels it. It breaks his expectation and makes him realize you're not just background noise in his life. You're someone he actually wants to hear from, and now you're not there. This makes him think. It makes him curious. It makes him miss the energy he might have started taking for granted. But you have to do it from strength, not fear. Strategic absence has to come from confidence. It's not about pulling away because you're scared he doesn't like you. It's pulling away because you're not afraid to be missed. You know your energy is special, not something he gets just because he wants it. Let's be honest, men usually want what they can't have easily. Not what you lack, but what they can't access whenever they want. And that's what your absence creates. Suddenly, he's not getting the good morning text. Your name isn't popping up on his phone all day. He's not hearing your voice or getting updates about your life. And that quiet feels loud. He starts wondering, where is she? What's she doing? Who is she with? Why hasn't she texted? Did something happen? And here's the best part. You're not doing this to manipulate him. You're doing it because you've decided to focus on yourself, your life, your own interests. You've stopped performing for his attention and started living for yourself. This changes everything. Instead of you wondering when he'll text, he's the one checking his phone. He's the one looking at your social media, thinking about your last conversation, imagining what you're doing without him. And when the mind doesn't have information, it creates stories. It builds feelings that weren't there before. When you do come back, when you reach out or show up again, it feels different, more special, more valuable, because it wasn't constant. He couldn't count on it. And that difference between having you and not having you is what creates obsession. But here's the key. Your absence only works when you come back with the same confident energy. You don't apologize for being gone. You don't explain where you were or what you were doing. You just show up again simply, like a woman who has a full life and doesn't apologize for it. That's what keeps him coming back. Not your constant availability, but the fact that sometimes you're not available at all. Rule number 6, let your silence test him. Silence shows you everything, not just about him, but about you. And when you use it right, it becomes the ultimate test of whether someone is worth your time. See, silence shows you how someone acts when they don't get what they want immediately. It shows you how they respond when you don't give constant attention, constant validation, constant emotional energy. And it shows you what kind of treatment you're willing to accept when things feel uncertain. When you go quiet, not because you're mad, but because you're being intentional. You're watching. You're not reacting. You're observing. You're letting him show you who he is without trying to control his response. And in that space, everything becomes clear. Some people will panic when you step back. They'll try to guilt you. They'll try to manipulate you into engaging again. They'll make you feel bad for needing space or not being available all the time. Others will just disappear, showing they were only interested when you were giving everything and asking for nothing. They'll find someone easier, someone who doesn't make them work or prove themselves. But the ones who really value you, who see your worth, they step up. They reach out respectfully, not desperately. They don't create drama to get your attention back. They come to you with genuine care. Your silence is like a mirror. It reflects back their emotional maturity or immaturity, but it also reflects back your own standards and self-worth. Because a woman who knows her value doesn't chase answers. She doesn't beg for clarity. She doesn't rush to fix things that feel off. She waits, she watches, she lets people show her who they are without trying to control what happens. And that's where the real test is, because silence isn't always easy. It will trigger every part of you that wants reassurance, wants to know what's happening, wants to control how he sees you. But when you hold the silence, when you stay calm in the uncertainty, you grow. You start to see who really fits with your energy and who was only there when it was convenient for them. The truth is, some people only want you when you're giving, when you're explaining, proving, making their life easier. Your silence removes all that extra effort. It says, here I am, just me. Is that enough? Do you still want me when I'm not doing all the work? And if they can't handle that, if they need you to be constantly available to stay interested, that's not your loss. That's your protection. So don't fear silence as rejection. Use it as a filter. When you stop chasing and start watching what happens in the quiet, you see truth. You see if he steps up or steps away. You see if he values your energy or just the benefits you provide. This is where your standards get higher, where you protect your energy better. W's. Here, your peace becomes more important than anything else. And when that happens, when silence becomes your friend instead of your enemy, you become a completely different woman. One who doesn't just get attention, but gets real respect. Rule number 7, make silence your natural state. The 7th rule is understanding that your silence isn't empty. It's full of strength, full of answers, full of power that most people never learn to use. When you've mastered the first 6 rules, something changes in how you show up everywhere. You're not afraid of quiet moments anymore. You're not rushing to fill every gap in conversation. You're not panicking when someone doesn't respond right away. You've learned that your silence speaks louder than desperate words ever could. You've discovered that stepping back often brings people closer than chasing them will. You've realized your energy is precious and not everyone gets to have it. But this last rule is about making it natural. It's about making silence not just something you do strategically, but part of who you are. A woman who is comfortable in her own space, in her own thoughts, in her own skin. This kind of silence isn't calculated. It's real. It comes from truly knowing that you don't need to prove your worth through constant talking. You don't need to entertain people to be valued. You don't need to be on all the time to be loved. When you get to this level, men don't just notice you. They become fascinated by you because real quiet confidence in a noisy world is rare. A woman who can sit comfortably in silence, who doesn't need constant validation, who can engage when she wants to and pull back when she needs to, is magnetic. The funny thing is, the moment you stop trying so hard to be heard, people actually start listening to you. The moment you stop chasing connection, the right connections start chasing you. The moment you stop giving your energy away freely, it becomes precious to people who really appreciate it. This last rule is about trust, trusting that the right man will never be scared of your silence. He'll respect it. He'll be curious about it. He'll want to earn the right to understand what's happening in those quiet moments when you're just being yourself. He'll know that your silence isn't rejection, it's selection. You're choosing when to engage and when to step back. You're choosing quality over quantity. You're choosing depth over surface conversation. And he'll rise to meet that standard because he recognizes what he's seeing. A woman who knows her worth and isn't afraid to protect it. Remember, your silence isn't punishment, it's peace. It's not withholding. It's wisdom. It's not playing hard to get. It's being impossible to forget.